Va'et Hanan. Then I pleaded with Adonai. Deuteronomy 3, verse 23. At the very beginning of Va'et Hanan, we read about Moshe describing to the people of Israel his plea with God to let him into the promised land. As it says in Deuteronomy 3, verse 25, please let me go across and see the good land on the other side of the Yarden, that wonderful hill country in the Lebanon. Moshe already knew that God had decreed he not be let into the promised land, but Moshe asked anyway. Maybe God would be merciful and nullify the decree. Yeshua did the same thing, as it says in Hebrews 5, verse 7. During Yeshua's life on earth, he offered up prayers and petitions, crying aloud and shedding tears to the one who had the power to deliver him from death. And he was heard because of his godliness. And just before he is crucified, Yeshua cries out, my Father, if possible, let this cup pass from me, yet not what I want, but what you want. Both Moshe and Yeshua teach us to argue with God, to plead with him, and struggle with him. To paraphrase the response of Dennis Prager when he was asked why he was Jewish and not Muslim, I'd rather struggle with God than be subservient to him, because the name Israel means one who struggles with God, while the word Muslim means one who submits to God. Struggling with God doesn't mean something negative. It is just being honest with our humanity, the humanity that God put in us. After all, we were made in God's image. Now, why did Moshe want to enter the promised land? The Talmud discusses this very topic. Rabbi Samlai taught, for what reason did Moshe, our teacher, greatly desire to enter Eretz Israel? Did he need to eat of his produce? Or did he need to satisfy himself from its goodness? Rather, this is what Moshe said. Many mitzvot were commanded to the Jewish people, and some of them can be fulfilled only in Eretz Israel. So I will enter the land in order that they can all be fulfilled by me. Sota 14a. The Talmud says that Moshe didn't want to enter the promised land for his own satisfaction. He wanted to enter so he could serve God better. This brings clarity to an important and often misinterpreted teaching of Yeshua, as it says in Matthew 5, verse 17. Don't think that I have come to abolish the Torah or the prophets. I have come not to abolish, but to fulfill. What did Yeshua mean by fulfill? The same thing Moshe did. Not to do away with it, not to cancel it, but to observe it to the highest degree. There is another reason Moshe might have wanted to enter the promised land. The Lubavitcher Rebbe taught that if Moshe had been the one to lead him into the land, it would have immediately ushered in the Messianic age for all time. Moshe not only wanted to enter the promised land for his own sake, but for the sake of everyone in the entire world. Yeshua will eventually fulfill the work that Moshe started. He already fulfilled the Torah. Now he just has to come back and usher in the Messianic era. The Lubavitcher Rebbe gave a lesson on what to learn from Moshe's pleas, to continue to pray for Mashiach again and again until we are finally answered. And just as we await the return of Yeshua, Yeshua awaits his return to us. But Adonai was angry with me on account of you, and he didn't listen to me. Adonai said to me, enough from you. Don't say another word to me about this matter. The Midrash says that the intense and wholehearted prayers of Moshe shook heaven, earth, and all the worlds of creation. God had to give his angels orders to lock the gates of heaven, to stop Moshe's prayers from reaching him. Finally, it was too much, and that's when God said, enough from you. Don't say another word to me about this matter. Midrash Tahuma expands on this in Ve'et Hanan 6. The Holy One said to Moshe, Moshe, I have sworn 2 oaths, one that you should die, and one to destroy Israel. To repeal both of them is impossible, so if you want to live, Israel will be destroyed. He said to him, Sovereign of the world, are you coming to me with a plot? You are seizing the rope at both ends. Let Moshe and 1,000 like him be destroyed, but do not let one person in Israel be destroyed. Moshe was willing to forfeit the promised land for the people of Israel. That's why Moshe says in Deuteronomy 4, 21 and 22, but Adonai was angry with me on account of you and swore that I would not cross the Yarden and go into that good land, which Adonai your God is giving you to inherit. Rather, I must die in this land and not cross the Yarden, but you are to cross and take possession of that good land. The Talmud has one more teaching relating to Moshe's pleas, and that is Moshe can be compared with the suffering servant in Isaiah 53. The Holy One, blessed be He, said to him, "Do you seek to enter the land to perform these mitzvot for any reason other than to receive a reward? I will ascribe to you as if you had performed them, and you will receive your reward, as it is stated. Therefore will I divide him a portion among the great, and he shall divide the spoil with the mighty, because he bared his soul unto death, and was numbered with the transgressors. Yet he bore the sin of many, and made intercession for the transgressors." Isaiah 53, verse 12. Rabbi Samlai proceeds to expound the verse, "Therefore will I divide him a portion among the great," to mean that he will receive reward. One might have thought that he will receive reward like the latter ones, and not like the earlier ones. So the verse states, "And he shall divide the spoil with the mighty," meaning like Avraham, Isaac, and Yaakov, who were mighty in Torah and in mitzvot, because he bared his soul unto death, meaning he gave himself over to death on behalf of the Jewish people, as it is stated, "Yet now, if you will forgive their sin, and if not, blot me, I pray you, out of your book that you have written." Exodus 32, verse 32. We believers in Yeshua also know that the suffering servant can refer to Yeshua too. Just as Moshe gave himself for the people of Israel, Yeshua gave himself for us. Both Moshe and Yeshua taught us to argue with God. Moshe started the work of the Messianic age, and Yeshua will finish it. First, Moshe risked his life to save us. Then Yeshua gave his life to save us. Ve'et Hanan reiterates once again the main concept of the entire Bible, to fear God and keep his commandments. Therefore, observe them and follow them, for then all peoples will see you as having wisdom and understanding. When they hear of all these laws, they will say, "This great nation is surely a wise and understanding people. For what great nation is there that has God as close to them as Adonai our God is? Whenever we call on him, what great nation is there that has laws and rulings as just as this entire Torah, which I am setting before you today?" Deuteronomy 4, verse 6 through 8. In the same way, let your light shine before people, so that they may see the good things you do and praise your Father in heaven. Matthew 5, verse 16.